Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to the episode of my F1 2020 My Team Career Mode, episode 127 today for the Hungarian Grand Prix in Season 7. If you guys did miss the previous one at the home Grand Prix, the British one, then be sure to go check that one out before you see this one. We had a very special one-off livery for that one, and it ended up being a very special race indeed, as it took us 7 seasons, but we finally broke the curse and the bogey kind of nature that Silverstone was for us on F1 2020, and spoiler alert, we came away with a win at our home race to take our second win of this season to match our teammate Lando Norris, and not only that, take the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So a very good episode there for us. It was a really entertaining one actually as well, obviously, if you guys watched it, with Hamilton and Gasly right up there as well as Lando, but he kind of fell away a little bit with Verstappen coming back late into that one. And of course we didn't really see what could have been with Ocon, because the two McLarens actually made contact in the middle of that race. So a very hectic one, definitely, for sure. But in the end, we didn't get caught up in too much of the chaos ourselves, actually, for once at Silverstone, and we did take the lead of the championship by 5 points. We're now over the halfway point of the season, so in a way, it's almost been reset. You know, myself and Lando have 2 wins apiece. We're 5 points in between, which is not a lot. It's not a massive margin, really, considering career mode here, and so we've got half the season left, so it's game on. But we go to the Hungarian Grand Prix. That's always a tough one for tyre wear. Qualifying is also going to be interesting as well, but we'll see how we go on with that. But we go into the race weekend with a massive and surprising announcement that I was not ready for. That is, Daniel Ricciardo is announcing that he's going to be retiring in-game here after Season 7. So, out of all the people to retire, I didn't think it was going to be Ricciardo. Obviously, we've been talking about maybe Hamilton. Is he ever going to retire? Because we had for, 5 seasons, from the end of Season 2 to now, basically, where Hamilton was such a dud in this game. You guys know, if you've watched on previous episodes, Hamilton's AI in the game was very much the polar opposite of the Hamilton we see in real life. But he is not announcing any sort of retirement. It doesn't look like anytime soon. To be fair, he's been reinvigorated in this season by going back to his original team, McLaren, and instead, it's Ricciardo with Red Bull. Obviously, Red Bull floundering a bit this season, along with Ferrari, very much at the end of the midfield fight. And Ricciardo's announced he's going to hang up his racing boots at the end of the season. So that might create a bit of a domino effect, I kind of hope, maybe, because Red Bull could be a top seat in a future season. So let's see how that one progresses at the very end of this season, I guess, about who will replace Daniel Ricciardo. But some interesting news there on the kind of driver transfer front. But we now go into the race weekend, then looking to try and to continue what has been a very good qualifying season, to be honest, for the team as a whole. Lando obviously has been so consistently good in qualifying and the races, to be fair, and we've just had to try our best to match him. But he's kind of pushed us to, I think, qualify the most consistent as we ever have done in a career mode season, really, in this My Team series. So we hopefully try and continue that. Our car is clearly very quick over one lap. It's been a bit iffy here and there. I felt like last race we weren't exactly mega quick. I think obviously we got helped out a lot by Hamilton and Gasly fighting. So that's been a weird one, actually, where it's been a very different scenario, where usually we're quicker on the race day, whereas at times I've felt in some episodes we're definitely just showing better pace over one lap, and maybe the race were a little bit slower if McLaren or Racing Point or Merc turn up. But in Q1 then, I guess maybe this is an indication of why his AIs decided to retire. Ricciardo knocked out in Q1, whereas his teammate Sainz is up in P8 in the other Red Bull. So, Ricciardo very much showing, Hamilton-esque characteristics there of our career mode, but Hamilton's yet to retire. I don't know how. I'm still banging on about it. I don't know how Hamilton's outlasted Ricciardo in this career mode, because so many other points Ricciardo has actually looked quick in literally just this season as well, in previous episodes. But in even the previous recent seasons, Ricciardo's just shown better performances than Hamilton in whatever car Hamilton's been in. I'm very baffled, but there you go. Now, I guess now that he's announced his retirement, we may just see his AI just not perform at all, which is a bit of a shame to see, I guess. But anyway, as we go on through and we talk about that, just kind of not much to talk about in terms of track action, because it's just a straightforward, we get through into the top 10 shootout along with Norris. But also, to be fair, was a bit surprising to see one of the McLarens out of Hamilton, speaking of him, but both Ferraris made it through. So randomly, they're looking quick again a little bit here at Hungary. George Russell, once again, featuring in the top 10 shootout. He didn't quite get the ability to show off what pace he might have had at Silverstone, because he He had a 10-place grid penalty. Let's see how he does in this top 10 shootout, and maybe, well, I doubt he has a penalty for a second race in a row, so we might finally actually get to see what George can do in some clean air in that one Alfa Romeo car, because once again, his teammate was knocked out in Q1 again, so his AI is just dragging that car way up the order. But I was surprised to see both Ferraris in there, and that was at the detriment of Hamilton. I believe also one of the racing points, I think, got knocked out as well. So we'll see how that progresses, and we'll see if Ferrari can turn up here. I don't know, maybe the lack of, obviously, it's a bit more of a downfall circuit. We did see, obviously, Leclerc was good at Monaco, so maybe that's why Ferrari looking better. They may be just lacking some pace in a straight line and drag reduction, I guess, maybe, with a very draggy car maybe this season. But as we enter the top 10 shootout, that first run I thought was pretty decent. Lando pops in a better time, but we're very close together, I would say, compared to everyone else. There's some massive gaps there. Gasly and Verstappen surprisingly down the order by quite a fair distance there. Russell at the moment is in P3 as well. So, okay, this is a very topsy-turvy top 10 shootout, but what I'm aiming for right now is pole position, because we're still in second place. I know there's about 3/10-ish compared to Lando there on provisional pole, so that's what we're aiming for here. So, no matter the craziness behind us, the staple is myself and Lando in this Quadrant AAR F1 car are looking mighty quick once again on a Saturday, looking to try and lock out another front row. We got a front row lockout last time, thanks to the penalties. This time, though, what can we do? Do we do enough? No, we did not. We did improve by 3/10, but I think Lando came in with an even better time, and yes, he is once again on pole position. But for another race, we've locked out the front row, showing the car is mightily quick over one lap. Max Verstappen was finally able to pull some time out compared to Gasly, who's very disappointingly 1.4, nearly 1.5 off pole. So I don't know what on earth a disaster has gone on there for Gasly, for him to be in P10, Verstappen P3, Russell P6. That's actually really not bad. It's not the same lofty height of Silverstone, but that's still amazing considering where his teammate is and where that car seems to be. Ocon in P4, that's alright for him. Maybe in the race, as we've seen many times before, the McLaren will speed up and he might be a contender for the race win. I don't know. And Leclerc, to be fair, has done very well in P5 in a very slow Ferrari. And Giovinazzi P8 and De Vries P9. So very topsy-turvy. But like I said, that's all behind us. At the forefront, calm and peaceful, 1-2 once again on Saturday for the grid. So, again, looks like it might be me v Lando v whoever can kind of take the fight to us, I guess. It's that kind of random lottery, I guess, of who is going to take the fight to us this time round. I can't call it. Would it be Verstappen? He looked very quick at the end of Silverstone, so maybe he's feeling game for it and has that momentum maybe to pull into the race. Let's find out. Let's go to the grid.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of the Formula One World Championship. We don't expect too many retirements at this track. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher. He made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. We're northeast of Budapest for the race today at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let me ask you about Racing Point. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position, and the owner driver alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Ocon, Charles Leclerc and Russell, Stroll, Giovinazzi, De Vries and Pierre Gasly, Albon, Sainz, Lewis Hamilton and Aitken, Bottas, Kvyat, Luca Giotto and Kevin Magnussen, Ricciardo, Latifi, Matsushita and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So we're on the front row once again, and all we can see is the safety car and Lando to the left of us, but this time it was on merit. Our team are recommending us nothing but a two-stop, either a two-stop on two sets of mediums or a two-stop onto a set of hard tyres. So they're very much thinking the tyre wear is too high for our team to do a one-stop, which sometimes the game does recommend you, and I tend to agree with them. We've done the two-stop twice now in the last two seasons. Both times, I don't think it's quite got us the win, but it has been the fastest strategy for us personally, because I just don't think our FOM car that you have to use in my team is very good around here on the hards with the tyre wear that there is around this track. So I'm going to go with the 2-stop like the team is recommending. I assume Lando's going to go with that as well. And obviously, him being the main championship contender, it makes sense for us to cover him off, and then we'll see what we can do from there. But once again, we start off a race with the front row looking all fluoro green. Will it be like that at the end? Let's see as we go to 5 red lights, the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we're underway, and there's a lot of wheel spin for Lando, and it's a good exit for us off the line, but then we got up the gears, and Lando just pulls some extra time there, I think bumping up ERS a bit earlier than we did. Verstappen is down the inside, now it's 3 wide into turn 1. We've been pinched on the inside of Lando and Verstappen, and Lando's been shoved off a little bit wide, and Russell has overtaken him and Ocon, and he's up into P4. I can't believe this. Verstappen is taking the lead. We couldn't quite do it on the exit. He's in first place. We're still in second. George Russell has got up into P3 ahead of Ocon, who's just overtaken Lando around the outside. What happened to Lando there? He had such a poor exit off the line. Then looked like he was quite quick as we went up to 5th gear into turn 1. Then obviously I got nearly completely sandwiched between him and Verstappen. Lucky to come out of that. We lost the position to Verstappen because he had the better inside line, but off the exit of turn 1 then, Lando was just so slow, got overtaken by Russell before we even got through to turn 3. And so as it stands at the moment, as we go on to lap number 3, DRS will be activated for the first time. We're really keeping the pressure on Verstappen, just only 4 tenths behind. We're dropping Russell a little bit, but crucially, Russell is still ahead of Ocon and Lando, which is kind of crazy in the Alfa Romeo. So let's see how that goes on as we go on to lap number 3. Yellow flags behind. Oh, no, don't say so. That is going to be absolute misery for our teammate. Lando Norris pulls off to the side, and that is just a very sad picture as he is out of the Hungarian Grand Prix. So that's great news for me in terms of the championship. It's a little bit frustrating, as I say, you know, we said it so many times, the AI, they can get a random failure like that at any point, but the player can never get that, unfortunately. So, you know, the game mechanics working in our favour there, and so it's just us racing for our team, and obviously now it's a case of trying to maximise points, I guess, to increase our lead in the championship, and it leaves Russell with one less person to worry about then, as he's still in P3 fending off Ocon. Meanwhile, a little bit further down the order, we just saw the Aston Martin car there, Stroll overtake the Ferrari, so the Ferraris maybe going backwards a little bit in this race. Gasly struggling for some race pace, uncharacteristically at the moment, still down in the lower top 10 positions, but we continue to pile on the pressure to Verstappen, entering a yellow zone there with Lando on the left still, and Verstappen locks up, he's slow, and now we're side by side, we're into the lead of the Grand Prix, but we have to give back the position mid-corner. We did it for a split second, then continue to press on, so very cheeky from us just to give him back the lead for a split second mid-corner, and so we're now keeping it side by side through the entire last bit, as he just completely shuts us off on the exit there. Surprised we haven't actually made any major contact to break our front wing, to be honest. We try a big old dive around the outside as Verstappen goes defensive with the inside, but in the end he's played that very clever, as unable to get a good enough exit, as was the case on lap 1, and he's able to hold the lead for now, but he looks a bit slow, and it looks like the tyre is creeping in for him maybe, and we've got DRS lap number 6. We're a bit far back, we're gaining quite a fair bit. We're going to go for the big bold dive down the inside, lock up, slow down the car, and that is oh so close, but oh so sweet, because no contact is made, and it's actually a really nice dive, and overtaken. Look at Russell go! Hang on a minute, George Russell, where's he come from? As he goes down the inside, he's just done Verstappen round the outside. They're going to continue to go for it as they go up the hill, the blind left-hander, and George freaking Russell in the Alfa Romeo car has just overtaken Verstappen, and he's up into P2. What is going on? What is actually going on with him? Because he's in an Alfa Romeo. His teammate is so far down the order. We're going to cycle through this replay camera, and look how long it takes us to find his teammate Latifi, which just shows that the car is very much not there. I mean, there he is. He's third last, I think, Nicholas Latifi. And Russell has just overtaken a Mercedes of Verstappen. I know at times Verstappen's not looked too quick in the Mercedes car, and Gasly's been the quicker one, but still, that Mercedes car you saw last episode was very quick in the hands of Verstappen, and Russell's just done him round the outside, and he's in P2, and his teammate is here in the same car, and he's third last. I think, wow, I mean, that just shows, his AI must have, like, some mega stats, like, I think that just shows on this game the AI level and the AI who's driving the car makes so much more of a difference than the actual car itself. And that's a testament to it. So on lap number 6 onto 7, we're in for an early pit stop, of course. We're going for the 2-stop onto a set of mediums. Even though Lando was out this one, I felt like with the tyre wear levels, clearly Verstappen was struggling. I feel like it's a 2-stop for us. It'll be the faster way to go. Not too sure about everyone else, but you can see my tyres were absolutely dead to the point where my indicator on the heads-up display was even saying the tyres were at a dangerous level of wear. You know, I think 65% that was on the tyres. So we're onto a set of medium tyres then in some, somewhat clean air, as Ocon actually made an undercut on us and has tried to jump us. We have to go defensive on the inside of turn 1, and so I didn't even realise that Ocon came in the lap earlier than us, so he's on the 2-stop as well, as Ocon really tries his best to go around the outside. We defend successfully, but that's lost us a bit of time then to the 2 Haas cars, but also the other guys who are now coming in for their pit stops here. But we've got a very interesting race on our hands, because I don't know how it's going to shape out behind us in terms of how, I mean, what's Russell going to do and what's Verstappen going to do as we come down the pit lane. There is Verstappen, there is Russell. Russell's jumped us with the overcut. He's gone quicker on his older soft compounded tyres. Us fighting Ocon then has cost us enough time to just lose the position to Russell. But here we go, trying to go around the outside. He's on the hard compound though, so Russell is going for a 1-stop here. We're on the 2-stop. It's crucial for us to get past what is effectively a slower car. I mean, I don't care about how quick he looked against Verstappen. He is in a theoretically slower car, so we need to make this count on softer compounded tyres, but he gives us a good old fight. Look at this, an absolute scrap and a half between us and our old teammate from only half a season ago. This was the race, this time last season, this was the race where we signed Russell to replace Hamilton. And at the same race where he did so well for us and our team on the debut, he's doing amazing for Alfa Romeo as we now send one on the inside of Magnussen, trying to slice through what is now out of sync traffic, because these guys have yet to pit from their medium tyres, including all the cars ahead of us in the top 10 right now. So we're going to try and get through these guys as quick as we can. Schumacher very slow on that exit as we use a bit of ERS. I'm going to have to try and be a bit brave on the brakes. Round the outside we go, but in the end it's a very nice move up into P10, and now a lot of clean air. 7.7 seconds the gap to close up to Latifi, and we do that in a matter of 4 and a bit laps there. But now it's the harder part of actually trying to overtake them. Even if they're slower, it's about trying to get the move done as quickly as we can as we go around the outside the final corner. Then Latifi, as we open up DRS, he's got DRS off Ricciardo, I think, so that Alfa Romeo is actually pretty damn decent in straight line, it would seem, and we have to do it under brakes. Round the outside, big lock up there, a bit wide. Latifi's still there on the inside, but on the exit we get it done, open up DRS, slice across from the racing line, and so with that we're free then to try and attack Ricciardo next up later on lap 15, closing up to him and also the Williams car ahead of him of Giotto. Is we're going to go for a move on the outside. Ricciardo goes defensive and kind of compromises his own line, but I guess in a way he's kind of almost not putting up too much of a fight there, maybe realising that we're much faster as we've got so much better grip. He's on older mediums that have been going for 15 laps here, so don't really blame him getting out of the way and not being in our race. The same for Giotto and Kvyat. Hopefully they do the same, but there's no guarantee. DRS open, but Giotto's got DRS off Kvyat, but let's go for a big old send to the inside. Very fine, banging tyres with Giotto as he tries to pinch us a little bit of fair play. Obviously he can race for position, no blue flags here. We're going to squeeze him to left, go round the outside, easy does it on the throttle, just trying to pick the line before I can slam down the throttle, and we're up into P7, and eventually lap 21, the others ahead of us, they actually pit before I even catch up to them. So for about 5 laps there, just looking to try and extend our lead on Russell in second place on the hard compound. You can see we've got a whopping 10.7 second gap there. Now that's not just my pace, it's been also obviously Russell and them lot were also getting through the traffic as I was doing, and they were getting held up so much more than I was, so that really helped me out. I think that probably gave us about 6 seconds of a gap, just of the AI being in traffic with each other, and then me stepping on the gas and the car making up the rest of the 4-second difference to 10 seconds that we've got to Russell. But of course 10 seconds to second place, that's nothing when they're not making another pit stop. Russell and the rest of them all on hard combat tyres, all going to the end. Ocon in the end was the only man in the top 10 doing a 2-stop with me, so we're very much going against the grain once again, like was the case at Silverstone. We went against the grain on a different tyre compound. This time it's the other way around. We're going more aggressive than conservative here at Hungary. Hungary, and it's been a way to go for us. We felt so much quicker around this circuit, but the thing is, the overriding factor is, can we actually make the overtakes? Is the famous phrase that was used just gone by the real-life Bahrain Grand Prix. You know, it's one thing to catch a car, it's another to overtake them, and here we go now, looking to make a move on Bottas. He's going to be easy, you know, easy prey, because the AlphaTauri is going to be a slower car, but once we catch up to, you know, Hamilton there, P7 in the McLaren, he might be a bit of a bother, because we know how quick that McLaren was last episode, so I need to hope that his tyres are very much going off by the time I actually catch up to him. And apologies here for a lot of screen freezes, my game and PC having some major issues in the second half of this race recording, but down the inside we go of Sainz. It's another big dive into turn 1, and this time it's very easy on the exit, as Sainz has obviously a lot more tyre than I do. But at this stage of the Grand Prix, George Russell is still in the lead this Grand Prix then somehow, because I mean, he's got clean air ahead of him, but he's not got DRS off anyone, and somehow he's kept behind both Racing Point cars of Albon and Stroll, and the two Mercs, because Verstappen and Gasly are both there. So both Mercs, both Racing Points right behind him, and he's in an Alfa Romeo, and he's keeping them behind somehow. I don't know how none of them overtaken him with DRS, but there we go. And so lap 26 then. So we've got 11 laps left, or 9 laps left, sorry, of this Grand Prix, and we've got 8 cars ahead of us between us and the win. So we need to try and overtake a car every lap, essentially, if we want to have any chance of getting towards P1 once again. But like I said, overtaking the likes of this man Hamilton might be easier said than done, because even though he's stuck here behind Williams, I've just realised, of Aiken, I don't know how that's happened, but he might be stuck behind the Williams, but we've seen that that is a quick car. We clearly saw that last episode, so let's see. At the moment, unable to do anything into turn 1 because we didn't have the overspeed with DRS there. Can we do anything now up the hill? Clearly the tyre advantage coming through. Can we get the exit? We're wanting ERS a bit on the exit, but Hamilton's so defensive, and in the end, we get it caught up on the curb on the left. I was being too overly ambitious with wanting some room on the left, but Hamilton just didn't give us any. Obviously, he didn't need to because he was well ahead of us, but that was just me having some wishful thinking about maybe where we can make a pass. And so again, we're still stuck behind him, and now it's lap 28, so we've only got 7 laps left, so already Hamilton has done some damage to us in terms of this race. I don't feel as confident now of us making it through, and look how good he's just placing his car. I'm unable to make a move again. We try on the left-hand side. This time we've got a better exit, and Hamilton's unsettled on the front end, and there's the worst time possible for a screen freeze ever. Thank you very much to my PC and the game, but what happened was we were side by side. Hamilton gave me such a good fight through that chicane that I only just got that on the exit, and so finally now up to P7, but it's already lap 28, and by the time we catch up to Aiken now, a further 2 seconds down the road, it's lap 30, and we're still not even fully there yet because we lost 2 seconds in that fight with Hamilton. But here we are then. The thing is, though, these cars are all kind of nose to tail almost in a way. You know, I think Russell's only, I would say, what's that, 5 seconds up the road, and we are on very much the quicker compound tyre, the quickest car on this circuit with the fast lap of the Grand Prix. But I don't know if there's just enough time, and also we still need to overtake the cars. And like I said, it's easier said than done, and you can see here, we're actually struggling to really catch up meaningfully to the Williams car. I don't know what's going on here, and we got yellow flags up the road, and there's a massive amount of smoke, and Verstappen has got an engine failure, and he's out of the Hungarian Grand Prix in the last dying stages, and we send one down the inside of Aiken and catch him napping. And so just like that, in a flash, we've gained 2 positions, and it might be game on for a podium still as we look to overtake Gasly now on the second last lap of the Grand Prix. Russell still leads this race, by the way, ahead of both Racing Point cars, who we could try and overtake. We make a massive dive on Gasly, and that is as smooth as you want. That was a great move on the Merc, and looking back at the replay on board from him, look at this, no contact made, he gives us the room, we just about slow down the car, and it's actually a really nice and aggressive dive that's worked for us and might just open up the opportunity to make a move for a podium. Let's see, on to lap 35 then. This is it. Russell somehow is still leading this race in the Alfa Romeo. We've got Albon there in the Racing Point, Stroll up the road. Can we even get a podium? Let's see. I don't think it's going to be likely in the first sector, at least, as we're a little bit far back from Stroll to do anything, and the rear end is twitching a bit as the tyre wear kicks in. Last sector, here we are, we're right up the gearbox of Stroll, we're breathing down his neck, but we just can't do anything. It's so frustrating. It's Monaco without the barriers, and there's just, I'm unable to make any sort of dive even to make some sort of last dash for 3rd place. And so frustratingly, I'm looking at the back and the rear wing of this Aston Martin liveried Racing Point car, and we're going to have to accept 4th place here. But George Russell How has he done that? I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. What is his AI on? He's on absolute steroids. What is he on? He's just won the Hungarian Grand Prix in an Alfa Romeo.
It's a performance to be proud of today from our Hungarian Grand Prix winners. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection, a shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Alfa Romeo have been winning fans the world over with their brilliant driving, showing that they're a force to be reckoned with out there on the track. They'll certainly be building on that fan base after today's excellent result.
This is not actually Russell's first time, if you remember, winning a bonkers race in the Alfa Romeo, because he actually won one of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. I think it's season 4 or 5 in the Alfa Romeo, so it's his third win, I think, overall, because he won one race with us last season in the second half of season 6. So I think that's his total 3 career wins then in this save of ours. But this one is the most bonkers one yet, because how was it? Like I said, Latifi was still in like third last, I think, in that race, just showing that the car clearly isn't there fully, and that's his individual AI in that car making up the difference. And what a difference has it made, because he just won the race. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm still back, but he got P4 in qualifying last race, P6 today, and then went on to win the race. I actually have no idea. That's all we need to concentrate on, because in terms of the championship, obviously Lando being out and us getting P4 is still pretty massive in terms of the standing. So now it's really all on Lando to try and make up that gap. We're now the ones feeling comfortable, and we're the ones that can maybe try and just, limit the damage where we need to and feel a bit safer in the standings. But we need to just end on being mystified by what we just witnessed there, because I still don't understand how this has happened, and it just shows, again, I mean, I'm so surprised that this game, honestly, the AI makes such a bigger difference than the car, and this is a testament to it. It really is. Bonkers race at Hungary. I don't know what else to say. Guys, if you enjoyed that one, then be sure to hit the like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.